You know you're in trouble when you have to break out the ruler. Anyways, the old coot here coming at you with another exciting video. So let's talk jars, right? Repurposed jars. Let's talk smallmouth and wide mouth mason jars. Sprouting lids versus weights for fermentation. You kind of get a sense of what I'm trying to get at here. So with that being said, I'm no, foodologist or rocket scientist or anything like that. I wish I was. I could totally use the money. But with that being said, here's the basis of today's video. I just did a video on olives, right? Curing olives. And it's important to get the right size weight that fits the jar. Like obviously this wide mouth weight is not going to fit into the smallmouth jar. If you try to do it, even if you got it in there, you probably will never be able to get it out. Good luck. You just wasted a weight in a jar. You're going to have to break one or the other to get them out. Anyways, it's important to use the right size weight. See how that goes easily in and out of there? Right size weight for the correct jar when you're doing fermentation. By the way, sprouted lentils, if anybody was curious, I may actually ferment these. Powerhouse of vitamins, nutrients, all that good stuff if I go ahead and ferment these, which I may end up doing. But with that being said, if you don't have the mason jars and you just have a regular jar, at least spring for the weight, because the weight you can always use to ferment stuff inside of your repurposed jars. And it's important to get a good quality weight. I got this one in 2021. This was like during the height of the pandemic. So, whatever was available is what we got. But nowadays, this is now 2025. They make these handles where they're more like easily to grab. They make horizontal handles that are easier to grab. So just find one that's good. Glass that's lead free, obviously. Try to get something that's BPA free. All these good things that you want in a glass weight. So I'll put a link to this exact one down below in the description, and then I'll try to update the link or try to get better products that I can find down below. I'll put those down below in the description, so make sure to check those out. But when I sprouted, right, when I sprouted the lentils, I used a sprouting lid, which is basically this. So this goes here. You put your lentils in the jar, fill it up with water, let it sit overnight. Basically, the lentils swell up with water, pour off the water the next morning, and then each day, basically fill it up with water, pour off the water, right? You just want to hydrate a little bit and then let this lentil sprout. I think this is like a 4 or 5 day sprout, give or take, something like that. And I've had these in the fridge for a while, just kind of chilling and using them as needed. But that's basically the concept. So sprouting lid goes with that. If I was going to ferment these, right, and turn them into deliciously powerhouse packed nutrients and vitamins and sprouted lentils, what I would do is I would make my mixture of water and salt, right? Usually I kind of go something to the effect of like this much water, right? Like half the jar full of water with about a teaspoon of salt. If I'm going to do the full jar, like if I'm going to be fermenting something with the full jar, it's usually a full tablespoon of salt. I try to over salt because I get a more stronger concentrated flavor when I do that. But it's important to use the correct weight. So that's why this weight fits into this jar. No problems, no issues. So if you're going to do olives like I did in the previous video, make sure you use a smaller weight, right? A smaller weight that will fit in and out of there pretty easily. And then if you're going to be doing a jar like this where you repurpose the jar, just make sure that your weight will fit in and out of there. And how do you do that? What I would do is start with your jar, right? And just measure what's called the ID. This is the inner diameter. Measure the inner diameter. You can do it in inches, right? So this is about almost like 2 3/4 inches, give or take, right? 2 past like 2 3/4 inches, 2.7 inches, something like that. I would also measure it in millimeters if you can, right? So this is about just shy of 70 millimeters. And that's important because when you go online and you're checking, cross-referencing the dimension of the weight, right? Let's do it this way so it's a little bit easier. So if I measure this now, I've got, give or take, just shy of 2.7, right? Just shy of 2, or I would say it's like 2.6 maybe 2.6 inches, something like that. And then that's why I always measure the millimeters. So now here's the millimeters. You're at like 63, 64, maybe even 66, as much as like 66 or so. But remember, the jar itself was closer to 7, right? This is bigger. This is 60, whatever it is, 66, 67 millimeters. This is smaller. So this is going to fit inside of the jar, right? So you can easily take it out, because the whole point is putting whatever you want in there to ferment and then being able to take out the weight afterwards. Why are the weights important? The weights are important because whenever you get whatever you're going to ferment in there, you want that to be below the water line, right? You want it to be submerged in the fermenting liquid, or in this case in the curing, right? The curing liquid, so that you prevent the growth of bacteria, mold, spores, some funky growth or whatever. But anyways, hope this video out there helps someone with weight, size, right? Sprouting lids, weights, regular lids, small mouth, wide mouth jars. Anyways, if you have any questions, post them down in the comment section down there below. Like I said, I will try to put as many links to mason jars, small mouth, quote unquote regular mouth jars, and also wide mouth, right? The wide mouth jars. And then the corresponding sprouting lids, right? That goes with each size, and the corresponding weights that go with each size. So that's my homework project for today. Anyways, with that being said, I'm the Old Coot. Hope this video out there helps someone, and I will catch you all on the next exciting video.